Hey, Dennis here. I'm actually inside today. Christoph in Australia asked me if I would show a little bit about my palette, what colors I use, and maybe some reasons why I made some choices. So that's what we're going to do today. And so let's check it out. Okay, so here's my palette. Um, I use titanium white, I use emerald green, Indian yellow, cadmium orange, I use a cad red deep, alizarin crimson. I use a cobalt blue hue, and then I use a French ultramarine blue, and then I also use a manganese blue, and occasionally I use a Mars orange for special reasons, which I'll tell you about in a few minutes. So um, this is typically my uh, winter palette, and I don't usually have Cad Red Deep on here in the wintertime. But you may be asking yourself, why emerald green in the winter? Um, Emerald green is it's mostly just a modifier for me. My friend Lori Felposh introduced me to this color a couple years ago, and it's been on my palette ever since. Sometimes in the summer I've used sap green, and I've also used a lemon yellow to modify these colors. And but you can see um, with the different blues I have, and even just this Indian yellow by itself, I have a very large range of greens that I can create with those two in particular. So um, I'll show you a couple of my favorite mixes that I like the emerald green for. Okay, I'll show you some of my favorite mixes with the emerald green. Um, I do my underpaintings with a lot of natural grays, which means that if you take any two colors that are opposite each other, across from each other on the color wheel, and you mix those together, you get a natural gray. Um, so I take emerald green and I mix it with the two reds that I have, and I get some really beautiful grays. Um, so I'll take this one. That's the Cad Red Deep, and then we'll mix a little bit of the alizarin crimson here. Then I'll just take I'll take some white, some titanium white here, and show you just how beautiful these grays really are. Um, you can see this one takes on a little bit of a violet um, hue to it, and this one over here is more is a little on the warmer side. Um, and so you get this entire color range of grays just strictly from mixing that green and that red together. And so let me scrape that off. Okay, by having three different blues, it also allows me to get quite a range of grays by using cadmium orange. Um, I don't use a lot of orange by itself, but again, it helps me modify these blues to get some really nice grays as well. So we'll take some of that orange, bring it out here, and then I'll grab some of the blues. This is the cobalt hue here, and then this is the French ultramarine in the middle here. Might need just a touch more orange with that. And then I'm going to also take a little bit of the manganese and mix that with it as well. Now these, when you use the orange, these grays tend to move toward earth tones, and I use these colors a lot when I in my trees and stuff, because these are some of the grays and gray greens that you find in a lot of the trees around here. So I'll take some white just to help you see how these are, and you can see how warm this particular gray is here. Just a really nice earth tone. And then mix some in here. This one tends to go, obviously, with the French ultramarine to a very cool side. So you can see those. And then the manganese works really well for distant tree lines. It seems to recede into the distance really well, and I tend to, since the objects further away from me tend to pick up more of the skylight, the color, they pick up color from the sky, they tend to shift toward this manganese, in my opinion, so I tend to use that a lot. But you can also see like beech trees, you know, this mix right here is very much the trunk colors that you find in beech trees, kind of that gray-green color. And so with a warm and a cool side, you can actually use these mixed combinations to paint the cool shadow side of the tree, and then also to paint the lit side. Okay, so let me scrape those off, and I'll show you one more of my favorites here. Okay. Whoops. All right. Have some more paper towel here. Okay. A lot of the native grasses, especially this time of year in Michigan, they have this kind of buffy color to them that can be challenging to get, but that's where this particular, my favorite brand of this Mars orange is actually Cinnelier, and it tends to be a little bit on the transparent side, so you can see when I put it down here it almost disappears. But if you take that and you begin to mix some white into it, you get that nice buff color, kind of very blonde color that you find in a lot of native grasses here in Michigan. So I like to use this a lot. Oh, and while I'm doing this, you might notice that this section got to be a little bit chalky looking. So the fix for that is, when you mix a bunch of titanium in with a color, is to just go back and just mix a little bit of color back in to your mix, and it will help eliminate that chalkiness, and you can see how that kind of changed it. And then as it sometimes when the sun is hitting that grass, I'll take a little bit of my Indian yellow and I'll mix that in with it, and it'll get very very warm and makes a really nice mixture. So there you can see kind of that whole range of grass colors, and then just by taking some of the blues, you can create some really nice shadow colors by using it as well. So I'll do that. So there you go. Those are some of my favorite mixes. That's my palette. Okay, there's my palette. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you in the field next time. Catch you later.